Welcome to Conversations with Neil Andrews. This program brings major issues facing the City of Ventura into wider public view, promoting timely discussion directly with the people involved in, concerned with, or affected by those issues. Councilman Andrews provides candid discussions regarding vital matters affecting city politics and political life, including key decisions that your city council and administration face. Andrews is committed to bringing you the pros and cons of these important issues with his unique perspectives based on many years of experience in business and government. We hope you'll enjoy the dialogue.
Hi, and welcome to Conversations with Neil Andrews. Once again this week, we're in the council office meeting here and not in the studios. So you'll have to bear with us a little bit if we juggle things around and muff it up a little bit, because we might. On the other hand, we try to have a good time. I'm here with Dale Jenke. Dale is a board member from the Pierpont Community Council. And we're going to talk about one of the issues that's important to the Pierpont community, and that is the sand and sand encroachment coming off the beach there and into their neighborhood. So, welcome, Dale. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much, Dale.
And let's sort of talk first a little bit about the Pierpont Community Council. What is the Pierpont Community Council, and how is it involved in all this?
Well, the Pierpont Community Council was formed to deal with the issues that involve our neighborhood, which is basically down in the Pierpont area and kind of the Keys to some extent. So it extends from Marina Park all the way to the State Beach, and from the ocean all the way probably up to the freeway.
Okay. Harbor Boulevard.
Yeah, Harbor Boulevard.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of issues, sand being number one, and also development in the area. So those are some of the key issues, and also trying to beautify our area.
Now, there's a Ventura Keys Association as well. Is that part of the Pierpont Council, or is that something separate?
That's something separate, but we do try to do things because we're both affected by usually what happens in our area.
All right, so it's at least some collaboration or cooperation.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about the sand issue there. Just basically, the sand builds up on the beach. It's wind-blown mostly, tide-borne and wind-blown. It has been, over the years, building up into dunes. The dunes have been creeping back along the back side of the beach to the private property. And in some cases, the dunes have built up pretty high there. In some instances, as high as the walls that separate that private property from the public beach. I guess in at least one instance, one of the walls is cracked a little bit or something like that. And,
yes.
And also, obviously, at the ends of the lanes that go down through the Pierpont area, which is the public access to the beach and the stairways and so forth, those get overwhelmed with the sand, and the sand comes down and makes them somewhat hazardous. Basically, that's the scenario, right?
Yes.
So, what from the Pierpont community neighborhood point of view is the right solution to that?
Well, first let me clarify the fact that I'm here as a board member, and there are certain things that the board has discussed with the community, and other things will be my observations, which come from years of being both the board chairman and vice chairman, and then just various positions on the board.
So what you're saying is not all official?
It's not all official, so I want to put that caveat in there. So,
tell me when it is official.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the important thing.
The main issues with the sand is we've got an ongoing movement of sand, like you said, through the wind, through the tides, and what have you. The problem is because of the fact that the Coastal Commission has changed our beach from a level 1 to a level 2 without any consideration or talking with the residents of the area. This was done back in the late 90s. We were told that an actual notice had gone out to us, but unfortunately the city has not been able to find any documentation saying that that was done. So before that time, we used to be able to actually move the sand, and the city actually came through there and moved the sand back onto the beach when it was up against the houses, because I'm not sure everybody realizes this, there used to be a road there called Shore Drive. Shore Drive belongs to the city, and there used to be actually houses on the other side. Well, those were abandoned so was Shore Drive. Because of that fact, that's really considered like city property there. And so that sand, because of the fact that that was their property, they used to go down through there. When they changed it to a level 2 beach, the Coastal Commission, what happened is they weren't allowed to use any mechanical devices to move any sand in the area. So with that happening, it kept building up and there was no relief. That sand in turn ends up on the stairs and on the lanes and blocking the storm drains that are used down in the area. So we've had some pretty severe problems over the years building up because of the lack of taking care of it.
Let me ask you, what's the difference between a level 1 and a level 2 beach? Obviously, the level is a 2 now. There's no mechanical equipment, but
exactly.
Are there other differences? How and why? Why is there a level 1 and a level 2?
Okay, level 1 is designated like, say, the state beach, where there's a bunch of people that show up, or say like Marina Park would be considered a level 1 beach because of the amount of use that's being done there. It's called groomed, or cleaned. It cannot be groomed. Okay, like you see down in Santa Monica and actually over in Oxnard Shores.
So you can't have rakes going up and down. Exactly.
That's allowed in those areas.
In the groomed beach, it's allowed.
Yeah, in a level 1 beach, that taking care of the beach with, they call cleaning the beach. It can't be called grooming the beach, even though basically that's what they're doing, like down south. So what we used to be able to run the cleaners through there, and there was always some controversy because there's a lot of rocks on the beach, and I can remember having numerous conversations with the Parks Department, the city, and everything, trying to find a way to do this, where we groomed part of it. And then, of course, funds started to dry up, and then with the changing of our level, basically it was hands-off. A lot of this came about with the Coastal Commission designating that an ESHA, which is an endangered species habitat area, for the snowy plover and the one-legged lizard, or something similar to that, okay? I've yet to see one.
The legless lizard.
Yeah, legless lizard. There it is. That's the one.
I always thought they were snakes or worms,
yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called the legless lizard. Right.
So anyways, I've yet to see one down in the area, but they say they are there, which to me is, kind of ridiculous with the amount of people that use that area. That designation doesn't make any sense. But what it does allow is both the city and the state not to have to spend any money on maintenance. In fact, they've even pulled the trash cans off the beach.
All right, so here's one of the nubs, I think, is that you get the Coastal Commission reclassifies the beach, labels it basically an endangered species habitat, but one of the assets that emerges for the state, one of the advantages that emerges for the state in doing this, is not only can they say we protected this endangered species, whatever it is, but they can also say, and we're saving the taxpayers money because now we're no longer having to go and spend all this money cleaning the beach. And I remember too, when they used to run the machines down there, the rocks occasionally would foul the machines. There's no doubt about that. They'd break them. But I don't know that was so terribly costly that it was such a major issue. But I haven't lived on Pierpont Beach in over 20 years, so almost 30 years now. So my experience there was quite different, As a matter of fact, we would actually go out and take the snow blowers and blow the sand away in those days. Anyway, so there we are. If I recall the date, it was 1999 that the state Coastal Commission made this transition, and thereafter basically said to the city, no, you can't also mess with the dunes.
Yep.
Is that basically correct?
Yes.
All right, so here we are for over 10 years, an increasing problem as that sand builds up and what have you. Tell me what happened next.
Well, with that not being able to be basically cleaned up on a yearly basis, and quite literally bringing a bulldozer down through there and scraping right alongside the houses to get the sand away from there and moving it down to the beach made the most sense from a cost standpoint and relieving the issues that we have down there. So what happened is that it slowly started getting worse and worse to the point where the front homeowners actually had to sue to try to get some relief because they weren't allowed to do anything. And by doing so, they had to, it became a thing against the city.
Now, why was that? Why against the city and not the Coastal Commission or the state?
Because the city actually owns the property there. And so it's sand on their property.
All right, let's talk about, so you're talking about Shoreline Drive.
Shoreline Drive.
Okay, so the city owns Shoreline Drive, and today it's, as I understand, it's an easement for
Exactly.
utilities that are underlying there. It's no longer, obviously, no longer a road.
Mhm.
I think it's, some people have said to me that it's never been a road. It's always just been a way for vehicles to go up and down the beach to pick up trash and stuff like that. But
No, there's-
you said there was houses on the other side of it.
Absolutely. I actually have a picture in my office showing it back in 1936 with Shoreline Drive, with houses on the other side and the pier that used to be down at the end of Seaward.
So the beach must have been out further.
Further out, yeah. There used to be
Yeah.
wood jetties, and you can actually see them in certain times.
All right. That's a history I didn't know of the area there, even though I lived there one time. So, okay, so there used to be houses there. You said they were abandoned, and
Yes.
What was that process? Did they?
I don't know how, probably because of the ocean taking back.
Taking back the
Yeah.
land, yeah. So they really, when they were abandoned, they were just washed away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the question.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's certainly no longer houses there. The city no longer uses the road as a street in any way. It is just to protect the right-of-way, the easement for the utilities that underlie there and
Absolutely.
move down. But because the city owned that, whatever it is, 20 feet or so, that was
It's actually a total of 40 feet.
40 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the reason the city was named in the lawsuit.
Yes.
I'm still having a problem with this because the problem originates with the state and with the Coastal Commission taking the actions they took.
Yes.
How come, did anybody explore the possibility of suing the state and the Coastal Commission?
I'm sure they thought about it, but they felt that it was better to sue probably the city because of the fact that if the city lost, then the city would have to stand up against the Coastal Commission. Because quite honestly, that's what it came down to, is the city didn't fight when the Coastal Commission decided to change the beach to a level 2.
Back in 99.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can imagine the city not, because we have obviously a number of people in the city who believe that the Coastal Commission commissioners walk on water. And I'm not one that shares that point of view. I mean, I think that the Coastal Commission has served some useful purposes, but it has been one of the most difficult organizations in the state to deal with in terms of any practical approach to environmental management, in my view. But that's my view. I'm just one individual.
Well, I actually happen to be the first house to go through the Coastal Commission process for the city of Ventura when the Coastal Commission passed it on to the cities to handle. Because it used to be you have to take all your housing projects, anything within a mile of the beach had to go up to the Coastal Commission in Santa Barbara for approval. And that process was probably about a 6-month process.
Or more.
Yeah, and the city ended up taking over that process, and I was actually the first permit for my own house was put through that process, and I really expected it to not go well, and it actually was like about a 10-minute process. So it was definitely a relief to see the city take it over. And that's realistically the way it should be handled. Every city should be handling all the things that are basically involved within its sphere of influence with some guidelines from the Coastal Commission, rather than letting someone up in Sacramento decide what needs to be done in your local city when they have no idea what's going on here.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've always had some problems with the way the Coastal Commission proceeds, because they don't have, it's a cookie cutter. One cookie cutter fits everything.
Yep.
You know, they don't have a sense of the local community.